good morning to you there in Viewerland, whether you're on the internet or you are on the on your phone, just getting the audio, whatever it is. Good morning to you, and trust that we can have a very productive morning today. I trust that everything is going your way. For those persons who, well, maybe did not get a wish yesterday, and you are longing for a wish, it's not too late for us to say happy, well, maybe belated Father's Day to you guys. And by the way, as I said in one of my posts yesterday, Father's Day greetings are not supposed to go to people who just plant a seed and move on. Father's Day greetings are supposed to go to the people who longing for a wish. Oh boy. It's not too late for us to say. Yeah, Father's Day. Sorry about that. Father's Day greetings are supposed to be going to those persons who stand up to their responsibility. Those men who stand up to their responsibility. Yours is the wish. And I trust that as we move along, men will learn that it's not a cool thing to just plant a seed and rush away. All right, today is Monday, and the temperature in Guyana is just about 77 degrees, and I understand it's either raining or it's going to be a rainy day today. 77 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. And today, the current temperature in New York City is 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So we getting there. We're getting there. And I think, by the way, last night, if I'm not mistaken, sometime at around at 11, somebody I understand that marked the beginning of summer officially. Officially marked the beginning of summer here in the USA. So welcome to summer. Needless to say, last night I struggled to get to work on time. I don't know, man. Like, these people are making up for the time that they were missing from the beaches. You know, I haven't seen that amount of vehicles on the road for a long time. But nevertheless, Guyana is different. The only place you can go and find a whole lot of traffic held up because of people being at the beach is at Kitty Sea Walls, the Kitty Sea Wall area. So you will know what I'm talking about, and that the traffic goes like a breeze in any case compared to what's going on here. All right, and welcome to the show today. We have one of our MPs again today, a new what do we call it? An MP who's making his debut on the show today, coming out of the Essequibo Coast and Islands. We are proud to welcome Mr. MP, the Honorable Shurwayne Holder. Welcome to the show, Mr. Holder. God's richest blessings to you, and thanks for consenting to be here.
Good morning, Bradford. Thank you for having me on your program too. I'm happy to be here, and let me extend Father's Day greetings to all those fathers, as you said, that are taking up that responsibility. Not the ones that have just planted the seed and just disappeared. The ones that are actually dealing with their responsibility as a father.
Wonderful. That's correct. There's a difference between fatherhood and being the other parent. It's different between fatherhood and being the other parent of a child. So we men have got to understand that we need to stay around when we plant those seeds. Stay around and
exactly.
Yes. This is a show, Mr. Holder, where we have news, and we share news. We spread the news of things that may have passed, things that are coming, and things that are in the process of being fulfilled, as well as it is a place where we have fun. We have fun, but we try to ensure that whatever we do is a means of educating people those of our followers, especially those Guyanese who are in the diaspora, because we're not at home and we don't know what's going on at home necessarily, unless we tune into programs like this and Mark Benshop's show and Rickford Burke conversation with Rickford Burke and Politics 101 and Buxtonian Morning, and those are the shows that inform us as to, or keep us informed as to what's going on in Guyana. And then we use the opportunity here to share what we are experiencing over here in terms of getting Guyana recognized and having things that are being done in Guyana made known to the folk over here so that they can take whatever action is necessary. So we're happy that you on this morning, and we want to kick start by um, asking you, which region are you? I did allude to it before, but some people might not have gotten it. Which region are you responsible for representing in the
Well,
parliament?
I have direct responsibility for region number 2, that is Pomeroon Supernam. I am living in this region. I'm actually living in Henrietta, and I've grown up in this region. I've did some of my schooling in Region 4, but I've returned to the region. I've worked here for the last 10 years, and so I've been chosen by the people and by my party to represent region number 2.
Wonderful, sir. Well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, from my geography and my knowledge of Guyana, I understand that Sodi is within your region, isn't it? Am I correct there?
Yes, yes, yes. It's a sort of a tongue, if you will, if you want to call it that way. One of the hot spots.
Well, we're gonna certainly join you in pushing for it to become a tongue as early as possible. You know, we've got to get these things, these places elevated. But one of the features of Sodi, most people who would have had some interaction with folk on the Essequibo Coast, or you have some knowledge of things Essequibo Coast, would know about the Sodi Hospital. It is one of the more well pronounced things in the area. And when I talk about pronounced, not the saying of a word or the calling of a word, but it's one of the main features. It's a prominent feature in that particular part of the Essequibo Coast. And I understand that the government is identified or has identified the study hospital for upgrade and upgrade. They're saying that Saudi Hospital is due for an upgrade, and they're upgrading some of these facilities. I think there are 7 or 8 facilities, if I'm not mistaken, around the country. Yeah, or probably 8 or 9 that they're upgrading. Some have already been upgraded, like the Diamond Diagnostic Center on East Bank. But Saudi is up for upgrade along with the West Demerara Hospital and the Bartico Regional Hospital. But why I'm particularly interested in Saudi is because of the fact that it's out of Georgetown. It's a good way from Georgetown. And
Mhm.
sometimes people tend to feel that because it's country, as we put it, they can do things there and don't notify the folk or don't have them involved. You just do something and they have to accept it. This project, I'm not sure if it was brought to the attention of the residents of the Essequibo Coast, or in particular Sodi. As the MP, have you any knowledge of the project and its funding and so on? Do the people know how involved are they?
That's a great question, Bradford. We have seen over the last 8, 9 months, actually 10 months, how this administration has been operating. They're very secretive. Um, when it comes to government works, they put out only the information that what that they want to put out there that they think will promote them, and I'm certain that they will put out some information on this project. But as it is now, I'm very much sure that the residents are not aware that certain works will be done at Sadi. Our councillors, I've spoken with our chief councillor just 2 days back, and this wasn't something that was discussed at the RDC level. And so the residents obviously, the reps of the, if the reps of the RDC don't know anything or much of this project, then you would naturally expect that the residents themselves are not really aware of what is happening there. And it's very worrying, because as elected officials, we expect to be involved. As much as I am an opposition MP, I am representing over 7,000 votes within this region. Those are the persons that elected me. And even beyond that 7,000, I represent the entire region. I mean, the 7,000 placed me in parliament, but as an elected official, I'm here to represent all of Region 2. And it's unfortunate that these guys in government will not communicate with, not will not share this information with the opposition side. And we keep saying it to them, you have to involve the opposition. We are representing, based on the votes given to us, we are representing about 49, close to 50% of the population. And so we must involve. And I believe this is one of the fundamental errors this government is making. And that is why we see so many negative things happening. We see there have been some incompetence, I would say, in terms of them producing the kind of government services, and it's because they're not involving everybody. They think that they have all the solutions, all the answers, and I don't believe any government can operate in that manner. You'll be doomed for failure from in the beginning once that is the approach that you choose to take. And I must say that our administration, you can see it, people can say all sorts of things, but our administration largely did not operate in that manner. We always had we always had opposition members on boards. We always informed them. We always extended an arm for them to come on board. And so it is a stark difference in what is happening now from what occurred in the last 5 years in this country and in Region 2. And I could extend more specifically to the project there at Saudi. We have done, our administration, the APNU AFC administration, did a number of things there at Saudi. We upgraded the theater. We built a new maternity waiting home, a brand new maternity waiting home. It's currently being used as the COVID isolation center. But we have done a number of things for that hospital. So this is merely a continuation of the works that we have been doing. But of course, we are seeing a lot of secrecy in terms of contracts being awarded. Nobody knows what is actually happening, and so the public is not very much aware of this project, Bradford.
That's sad because like I said, the financing or the funding of the project would have already been secured. And I would think that even before you secure funding for a project, before you even finalize the project, one would expect that the beneficiaries or the proposed beneficiaries of the project would have been consulted, and the people in the area, especially the elected members or the representatives of the area, would know what's going on so that they can edify those in the area. And some official monitoring mechanism could be put in place. But there's another thing that is bothering me. This thing is well publicized in today's Chronicle, and they're saying that the Indian government is giving them a line of, they have approved a line of credit, I think it is, of $4.175 million US for this project. The project is for the government, the upgrading of the, like I said, the Saudi Hospital, the West Demra Hospital, the Barker Regional Hospital. my concern now is that, is this going to be some kind of fool game, something that is being put out there for propaganda purposes? They're saying that they're going to make the hospitals smart hospitals, so that they're going to put systems in place that they can glean or gather information on the patients without the patients necessarily having to go there and write up a set of documents, etc., etc. But India currently is in a terrible crisis. India cannot even afford to provide the vaccines that are needed for their people and to take care of all the necessities surrounding those persons who would have been, or the necessities of those persons who would have been affected by the COVID-19 vaccine. So I don't understand how this thing is being pushed ahead or pushed on the people. If this is, I mean, like, tell me, what's your impression of this whole thing?
I First of all, there are a lot of corrupt deals happening right now under this administration. We have to wait, Bradford, and see when the Transparency International releases that corruption index on Guyana to see where we fall. And I'm certain that we're gonna fall a number of places back. And you would recall what obtained during our administration. We actually improved it a whole lot. You
Mhm.
know, we were at an all-time high, I believe, if I'm correct. You know, but I'm certain that we will see in all these secretive deals, and so I'm certain that we will see some rolling back there. But coming back to the contract and what is happening in India, look, this administration is very insecure. They are very. I firmly believe that if elections were to be held tomorrow, they are not certain that they will get back into government. Of course, unless they have some type of external forces, as the case was in the last election. But they are very cognizant of that fact, and so I believe they're rushing some of these things. I don't believe that we will see the kind of development there at Saudi in let's say in the next few months. It might be more of a long term thing, but they're trying to sell it. They're using the chronicle paper to sell it, to try to flood the minds of persons into believing that, oh, we're getting so much development happening, and so, but it is not going to materialize, at least not in the short term. And the
Hmm.
idea of smart hospital is not their idea. Smart school, smart hospital actually started under our administration. We did works also in Region 3 on the said hospitals that they are naming. So, but they're trying to sell it, try to sell it ahead of securing the loans and all these things. It's the same thing they're doing within the other ministry. They in 2020 they had big in the newspaper that they're doing an indoor sporting facility here in Region 2. But up to now, not a load of sun. This is 10 months, and we had
Hmm.
it big, and persons were saying, yes, this is what we want. And mind you, that that was the whole arrangement was secured under Christopher Jones since I believe it was 2017 or 2018. But for whatever reason, the government of China, I believe, did not release the funds to get that project rolling. And here comes the PPP government. They came into power, installed or by whatever means, and they started to sell these projects, but not a load of sun, Bradford, not a load of sun. So I, I would be very, you know, reserved in or I wouldn't be looking forward to anything happening in, let's say, the near future. I believe it's just something being sold. They're running out of ideas. They need to tell the public something because the time is quickly passing, and maybe there might be an election before the 5-year term is up. And so when they go back to the people, they need something. They need to say, look, we've done something, or at least we've promised you something. They've promised, I tell you one thing, they've promised prosperity. They've promised prosperity in the 2020 budget. They talked a lot about prosperity, and in the 2021, they talk about resilience. But I'm telling you, it's completely the opposite that is happening in this country and in this region. People are feeling the brunt of this in force of this increased cost of living. It's affecting everybody in this region and in this country. People are crying, and a lot that are crying are the supporters of the PPP. Are the supporters of the PPP. They are very disappointed with what has been taking place in the last 10 months under this administration. And remember, Bradford, they sold, or they told the nation, told their supporters, told the entire nation that the APNU AFC instituted 200, over 200 taxes. And that was punishing them. That was putting a lot of pressure on the economy and all sorts of nonsense. They told these people. Now they're in government after 10 months. What happened? You have the opportunity to remove those taxes. They boasted in the budget. They removed, I don't know which and which taxes and what they reduced. But here it is that cost of living keep going up. And we said it. I said it in my budget presentation. You can go back to the clip. Um, the leader of the opposition said it, and a number of other MPs said it, because we sat down with former Minister Winston Jordan and we worked the math on it. We worked out the accounts, we worked the economics, and we found that the cost of living would have risen. And we said it early. And that is what we're seeing right now in this country. The poor people are under severe stress. And now we have flooding, we have COVID. But I'll give you an opportunity to, I know we have a number of topics and you might want to get into those topics. And so I wouldn't elaborate too much on them. But times hard in this country and in this region, Bradford. Jobs are not there, but I'll give you an opportunity to speak.
No, well, you can elaborate. One, I'll. What if my question is covered? I won't come back with it. But listen to
I,
this.
I, I understand. And, and in terms of jobs in this region, region two is predominantly dependent on agriculture, rice
That was one of my
specifically,
questions.
and much agricultural products from the Pomeroon, ground provision and other
Hmm.
stuff from the Pomeroon. And so it takes me to a point that we were making, and a plan that we had. Our administration intended to place the next shore bases in Essequibo, here in Essequibo, and in Borbies. And let me say this, we don't have a majority support in Region 2. We don't have a majority support in East Borbies, but our intention was to ensure that all of Guyana benefit. Whether you support us or not, you must benefit from the oil industry. Every
Hmm.
county should be benefiting from this oil. We can't wait 20 years down the road to say we're gonna do something for Region 2 now in the year 2040. I will be a grandfather and past a grandfather then. You know, the time is now. Now is when we got to do things for these youths, this young population. And so it was our plan to put the next shore base here in Region 2 and, of course, in Berbice. But, and so we moved a motion in Parliament just 2 weeks back. We moved a motion to ask the government to, in its consideration, let's agree together that we put this shore base here. And if you understand how shore bases work, you will have a lot of jobs, thousands of jobs, a lot of spin-off
Hmm.
jobs from these shore bases. You'd have trucking service engineering, you'd have office based work, and a whole host of spin-off jobs. And we need those jobs here in Region 2 now more than ever. But you know what? The government, without providing any argument. And persons don't have to take my word for it. You can go back to the debates. You can look at what our sides has said in those debates and what they have been saying. Basically, they've said nothing in those debates. They simply use their majority to throw it out. And I'd like the residents of Region 2 to understand this. This is a predominantly PPP stronghold. And this is what, they have refused to put an extra base here to provide the jobs that they have promised the people of Region 2 and of this country. And I'm frankly, I'm very much disappointed because I live in this region and I understand the joblessness, the stress that people go through here to find jobs. There aren't many jobs here. And I would have really liked to see a shore base here in Region 2 and to bring the kind of development and boost the economy here. And it takes me to another point. We're a predominantly agriculture-based region. And so the flooding that we're experiencing here now is really affecting the output from the region. It's affecting the livelihood of persons, especially in the Pomeroon area. I like the picture that you brought up there on the screen. If I'm right, I actually took that picture. I was out there visiting the different pump stations and sluices during the heavy rains in the last few weeks. And what I found at that particular pump station that you had up on the screen, the Anne Regina pump station, and this picture that you have up here is in Anne Regina. Um, that pump is not working. It wasn't working. Yes, it's on the screen there. That pump is not working. I actually took those pics. Something has happened to the pump and it's still not working. And, I am very much surprised that that the May June rains are coming. Every year it's the same thing. May, June, it's a heavy rainy period, and so you have to make the necessary preparation. And one would expect that you would have these pumps well oiled and serviced and prepared for this heavy downpour. But to my surprise, I visited that Anne Regina pump station and nothing is happening there. And God forbid, if the rains had only continued, the entire Anne Regina area and the connected villages could have been flooded. The picture that you pull up, it's right at the back of Anne Regina, and as you could have seen, water was already up in persons' yards. But the rain stopped. It gave us a little break, and so flooding was reduced. But it tells you how this administration operates. They are very callous, they are very complacent, they are very incompetent in the way how they are managing the affairs of this country, the way how they are managing the regions and the various ministries. And the Pomeroon, I spoke with some persons in the Pomeroon just day before yesterday because um, past president, His Excellency David Granger, called me and he also followed up with an email to say that he's very concerned about the situation in my region and he wanted a report, an update on what is happening and the situation with the persons with regards to flooding. And so I spoke with a number of persons in the Pomeroon and they're still under flood water. Places like Akiwini Creek are still underwater. I spoke with one resident of Grant Enterprise that's close to the mouth of the Pomeroon River. And she was in tears. She's lost so much. She had to replace her generator. She said she was sick and she was in the upper flat. Just returned to the region and the water came up so quickly overnight. Her cupboards were damaged, furniture damaged. She tried to save whatever she could save. The upstairs is basically rampacked with whatever furniture and other stuff. But she's lost her entire farm and so much in her home. Water was actually in her home for 27 days. It has now receded for the last 3 days, but the farm is still covered. So it's a terrible situation here in Region 2. I don't think persons understand the gravity of this flood and the situation in this region. The government has been sharing after we called upon them. I myself called upon them after days. We didn't see any movement in the region. There isn't any task force, as far as we know, any regional task force to deal with emergencies. They have not included our councillors in anything whatsoever. So we are not aware of what is happening. And so um, they eventually, after we called upon them, they were in the Pomeroon. They shared some hampers in a very discriminatory way. Eventually, they got to some of our supporters, our support areas, but many persons, many persons have not received anything from the government, and we would think that it would go beyond just a mere hamper because these people are actually suffering. And it takes me to the next point that we actually, in the last parliament, Ganesh, my pal, my colleague, honorable member, um, asked that we suspend the order of the day, and we discussed flooding together as a government, executive, and opposition side, and we make some firm decisions on means of alleviating the effects of flooding to mitigate the effects of flooding, but the speaker said that it is, while it is important, it is not urgent. But look at those pictures.
Wow.
It's laughable. It's not something really to laugh about, but sometimes you just chuckle with the decision that these guys make. You know, uh, Flooding has affected so many lives, displaced so many families, and to say that it is not urgent, I am appalled. I am, this a caring government? Is this the type of caring government that Ali so often talks about? And I believe their judgment is clouded. Um, they always think about, their first thought is not to include the opposition in any aspect of governance. And so it clouds their mind. That politics of the day clouds their mind. They're forgetting that they're now in government. As much as they have been installed in government, they are the government now. They are in control of the resources, and so they they have to deal with these things. And the opposition will play a key role. Will play a key role in whatever is happening in governance. But they just want to shut us out. They feel that they have a one seat majority. Well, one plus one, I like to say. One plus one, because they have this fellow Schumann, they joined the list, and he is part and parcel of the cabal. They've bought him. So, I say one plus one. And that's very unfortunate. But they're shutting out the opposition at every chance they get. They shut out the opposition. And we didn't do the same to them. We always extended an arm. The David Granger administration always extended an arm to them. So we're seeing the kind of governance that we had prior to 2015. And I believe persons would have voted um, in the 2015 election to show their disgust with what was happening. And so quickly we're back there at that same situation. And so I believe whenever the next election is called, Bradford, whenever the next election is called, they are going to be in for the shock of their lives. They have access to a lot of money. I see they've now, Ali has now declared flooding a national issue. And so we know that he wants money from the overseas countries and so on. He will get some aid, but they will use that aid in a very partisan manner and a very discriminatory way, as we've seen with the COVID cash grant and all the other programs. I can assure you that they will discriminate, They will use it for their own cheap political gains, but in the end, it will not benefit them because at the end of the day, all of Guyana, Guyanese generally do not want to see their country run in that manner. Whichever
Hmm.
government takes over, whichever party takes over, has to be a government for all Guyanese. And so I think the majority of Guyanese are not happy with this kind of politics that the PVP is playing, and they will um, they will register their unhappiness with this administration whenever the next elections are called.
I mean, I am so happy that you did go on to speak about those other issues because there's a definite nexus between everything that was presented there, and it shows in a nutshell how callous the government of Ghana is in regard to the needs of people who are suffering. Because I cannot think. Listen, I am a news fanatic. I hunt news from around the world. I'm on every single news network you can think about. From the time one ends, I jump onto another one. And right there in South America, there is not a single country. There are lots of Central American and South American countries where they have frequent flooding and landslides and so on. And as soon as an area is flooded or they experience a landslide, regardless of the size of the area that experiences that disaster, the government of that country immediately jumps into action and starts to look for assistance, starts to um, make appeals to international bodies and other countries for assistance in regard to alleviating the suffering of those people who would have experienced that disaster. So to hear the Speaker of the National Assembly of Guyana saying that flooding in Guyana is not a matter of an emergency, I think he probably is living on the International Space Station. He can never be living in Guyana. He has to be living either on the International Space Station or maybe the more recent one, the Chinese space station that they have up there. He could not be living in Guyana. But having mentioned all of that, there's one thing that is troubling me. As I survey the market in Guyana, um, I'm observing that the cost of living is spiraling out of control. And you rightly said that the people on the Essequibo Coast, the Pomeroon area, depend heavily on agriculture for their sustenance. A lot of ground provision and some amount of greens and vegetables come from the Pomeroon area, and those are the items that are leaping. The price for them are leaping, um, out of control. Is this increase occasioned by um, the flooding activity, the people's loss of crops, so that those who would have been able to salvage whatever little are now having to overprice the items so that they could make back something to restart their farm whenever this water recedes? Or is it just a casualty of the government's mismanagement, or a combination of both? Do we still have Mr. Holder with us, or we've
I
lost
am.
him?
I was backstage. You lost me momentarily. But I heard you. I heard you.
But you,
Um,
oh, okay, good, good,
the
good.
the simple answer to that, it's a combination of both. Currently, we're in a flood situation, and so naturally, with the loss of crops, you would find that the cost for fruits and vegetables, ground provision, and so on will increase. But let me say this: the prices were already astronomical before the floods came. The prices were already up. The cost of living was already up. Fuel went up, and naturally you would find with the increase in fuel costs, a number of other things related to goods and services generally will increase. But it takes us back to a point. we had the fuel scandal. If from that we learned that if the Guyanese were to pay $42 per barrel, then you had a middleman that had to make $10. So it gone up to $50. So there directly, this corruption directly contributes to some of the hardship that we are facing here in the country. And also, I said before during the budget debates, we clearly said the leader of the opposition, I said it, a number of MPs predicted that the cost of living will go up. When we look at the economics with the budget, they promised persons that things would go down, but we know with their style of management, with what they had in the budget, it was just not possible. They told us that construction materials will go down. People are crying right now, to those who have to handle construction materials, and those who are doing new buildings, and so everything has gone up, Bradford. Every single thing has gone up. So naturally, if you find fuel going up, you find transportational costs going up, you find construction materials and other services going up. The greens vendors, these poor vendors that are barely making a $20 and a $40 on a parcel of bora, they naturally would carry up that price.
Mhm.
I noticed that in the Stabrook News um, article, you find sometimes that they say, well, Bora is 200 a parcel. But the problem is the parcel is getting smaller. You
Yeah.
cannot buy one parcel and expect it to do for the entire family. You now have to buy two parcels. So actually, the price for Bora and other items, it's like $400, $500. That is what you have to spend on one specific green to get a meal, to cook one meal for a small family too. So I would say it is largely incompetence on this administration, on the part of this administration. Yes, the flooding is here, and I see they're trying to circulate this thing in on the social media to get people to buy in that the flooding is the core reason why these costs are up so much. But that is not true. The costs were extremely high long before the floods came. The cost for basic items, oil. Just yesterday I spoke with a cook shop person, and they were telling me that they were paying $6,000 for I don't know what size of oil. Now they are paying 10,000. So things are just bad under this administration, and I don't know why all sorts of, as my friend Sherrod puts it, is from one pocketary to the other, one pocketary to the other. I guess
Hmm.
when you are installed into government by illegitimately, that is what happens to you. You just can't get certain things right.
You spoke about the third party, the middleman in the oil deal. I want to take your attention to we're going just move your attention away from the region a little bit and to look at your wider responsibility as a parliamentarian. Um, Guyana has the Guyanese government, I should say. Let me be very specific. The Guyanese government, according to the allegations that are being made, um, has unfortunately made Guyanese into guinea pigs for the Russian COVID-19 vaccine experiment. The vaccine has not been approved by the WHO. We're not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that it doesn't meet standards and so on. I'm just saying it doesn't. It was not approved by the WHO. And then, in addition to that, in addition to just making Guyanese guinea pigs for the Russians, I remember that there was an article where people were saying that some of the vaccines coming into Guyana came from India. Well, that apparently didn't hold true because We are now finding that India doesn't even have the know-how, or they probably have the know-how, but they've not been granted permission to use the people's property to make their own vaccine. So they're depending on other countries. But that aside, the Guyanese government, unfortunately, paid somebody from one of the Arabian countries, allegedly, two times the amount of money that this vaccine really cost to bring it into Guyana. And I understand that Mr. Harmon questioned the 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 genuinity of the vaccine. How genuine is this product? Because it has to come through a third party, and he said that it could well be fake. Now, if you look at today's Chronicle, you will see that the Director General of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Dr. Mahadio, has said that no one can tamper with the vaccine, with the Sputnik vaccine, because of the temperature requirement that is associated with the product. No, I didn't. I apparently I didn't go too far in school. I just come out of primary school, but my primary school education has caused me to realize that temperature for storage of a vaccine has literally nothing to do with the genuineness of the product. He is citing that and saying that, so if the people pick up this vaccine from point A, which is at the manufacturing place, and then deliver it to Guyana, he's asking, let me see if I have his exact words written someplace here. He's asking a specific question. He said, they picked it up from point A, which is the manufacturers, and they bring it to Guyana. Where are you going to get fake stuff from? What happens between the stage of picking it up at the manufacturer and then delivering it to Guyana? Couldn't it be possible that they would have taken the genuine product, given it to their people in their country, and then sent on something else to Guyana? I mean, like, there are several scenarios that can take place there. So why is this Director General trying to dismiss the issue and trying to put it as though all Guyanese are brain lazy, that we can't think, so that we don't understand that it might well be that this thing is contaminated, or not even the right product?
Bradford, that's a great point you've raised. There's so much that we can say about this vaccine fiasco, this whole vaccine fiasco. First of all, I believe the Director General is showing great contempt for the people of this country. He's, he's questioning the intelligence of the people of this country. You in this age, you have social media, and social media has revolutionized the world. So you can't hide you can't hide from the truth. Now, the first thing I want to say is that we have diplomatic relations with Russia, with the government of Russia. And I am certain, I'm very, very certain that Russia would have been happy to work out something directly with us so that we could have, one, gotten legitimate vaccine. I'm not saying, mind you, I'm not saying that the vaccines are not genuine, but we could have ensured through that arrangement that the vaccines are genuine. And two, how these governments usually operate on these diplomatic relations, it would have ensured that we got those vaccines at, at the manufacturer's price, at the cost price. But instead, and this government needs to explain this, why is it that you had to go through the sheikh who has some convict, allegedly some ex-convict or something, that is sourcing this vaccine for him? It just stinks. Why is it that the government of Guyana had to go through that route? Why is it that we could not have gone directly to the Russians? I'm certain that a big country like Russia, given that given the whole politics between them and the US, and they being a world power, also I would classify them as some power, some force in the world. I know they would have been happy to have some diplomatic relations in that regard. But the Sheikh came, and we did not know, we it was an unsuspecting nation. We did not know anything about this Sheikh. What was the
All right,
purpose later? We will
we're
double the
losing, we're
cost.
losing.
You're getting me there, Bradford?
Yeah, we lost a little bit, but go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, yes. To top it off, we are paying more than double the cost that the World Health Organization said for the vaccine. I believe it's about $10, and we are paying in the 20s. Now, the government has chosen the route to lambaste the opposition, and I'm very disappointed with the media. I'm very disappointed with the Kaichur News. I'm very disappointed with the Stabrook News. When I look at the headlines, I'm asking myself, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong with these people? The leader of the opposition made a startling revelation, and we got it through a newspaper from, I believe it's a newspaper in Norway or one of those countries there, and they named Guyana in this ring, in this racket. And so the onus was on the media of this country to press the government. Instead, what they're doing, they join with the government to lambaste the opposition. We did not say that the vaccine is fake. We said it could be fake. It could be fake, and that nonsense that you were just explaining, what the director general said, moving it from point A to point B, and the temperature, you're absolutely correct. The temperature has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with whether the vaccine is genuine or not. You could take the fake vaccines and put it at whatever temperature you want, and they don't know that in moving it from point A to point B, if anything happened, they don't know that. I mean, you have to trust the system to some level. And if you were dealing with the government of Russia, you would expect that they wouldn't want to sabotage their or damage their diplomatic relations with a fellow country. So you would expect that you would get genuine product from them, because after all, it's a Russian product and they're promoting it. And so you would naturally get genuine products from the government of Russia. But they chose a middleman route. And to date, if you look at the response of the minister to the leader of the opposition, you know, it's sheer contempt for the
Mm.
citizens of this country. They need to answer these tough questions. Look, simply put, produce the documentation, produce whatever you can to prove that this vaccine is genuine. Comrade
Hmm.
Harmon himself, I believe he took the Sputnik. We looked at the Sputnik, and in all honesty, it seems like one of the better vaccines to deal with the different strains of COVID and so forth. So we are not questioning whether the Sputnik is good or not. We're questioning the batch. We said suspend. The leader said suspend the distribution of that batch, that particular batch. Provide us with the batch numbers. Provide us with the information. But you know what? They will never provide that kind of information, because from the time they release that batch number, it means that the, we in the opposition, the media, and the whole world will be able to trace
Hmm.
where those vaccines came from. And God forbid that, you know, something is wrong with the vaccine. Now, persons that have taken the vaccine, our MPs, many of our MPs took that Sputnik, and now we're questioning if we got the real deal. Nobody wants to be injected with some fake substance, some foreign substance. Look, this medical, this fake products is not something new. I followed reports even in the US, in the Miami area, and so you should be aware of it. You got a big scheme. This whole fake drug scheme, it's in some parts of the world, it's huge. It's bigger than the cocaine industry, than the narco industry. It's very, very big. So it's a legitimate concern that we in the opposition have, and it should be treated, with some level of they got to take it seriously. This is a serious thing. And so instead of spending a bunch of time criticizing the opposition and saying that we're anti-vax, we've been promoting vaccines. The leader of the opposition went to Linden, promoted there are certain persons are saying that we should not be doing the government work for them. That is their work. But we are concerned about the health and safety and well-being of all Guyanese. And so it is a responsibility that we have as parliamentarians, as elected leaders. So we're doing the responsible thing. And I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked and appalled with the approach of the government and also the media in not pressing them for these answers. Let them produce the documentation to prove that the vaccines are the real deal. That's all we're saying.
But there's not anything fictitious about it, because even the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago was saying the other day in a nationally televised interview, he said that, or statement, or address, he said clearly that they have bought the most vaccines only to be bettered by Guyana. And he said that the only reason why Guyana is known to have bought more vaccines than they have is because Guyana has bought quite a large number of Sputnik. And that has not been approved by the WHO, and Trinidad is only buying vaccines that are approved by the WHO. So, there's nothing that is fictitious about it. This is factual, apart from the newspaper coming out of Europe. It is also circulated around the Caribbean, and I think this is another issue that CARICOM, you see, CARICOM is not doing its job. If the Caribbean Secretariat was doing its job, then these questions would have been put to the Guyana government a long time ago. But I guess where money is,
Yeah, yeah, you can see that there is a lot of CARICOM is not united. You can sense that from the response of Mr. Rowley, his response to what the past government ex-minister, PVP minister, the information that he put out against Mr. Rowley. I think that was very unfortunate. And you're correct. CARICOM should have taken control of the situation, and that we could have. We should get it right. We should be getting it right. WHO approved. The Sputnik is not WHO approved, and so that is cause for concern. But put that aside. Now you have additionally, you're not sure that it's even the real Sputnik. So it's a real terrible situation that we're in. But I want to say, I want to just touch on Ramsami's blasting the Trinidad president and the chairman of CARICOM.
Mhm.
I was taken back because this is the chairman of CARICOM. He simply was speaking to his constituents, his people, his countrymen, saying that, look, my government and I have been doing a good job. We have a lot of vaccine. The only reason why Guyana has more than us. Guyana has 200 and something thousand or whatever the case is. We have a little less because Guyana took the route of taking the vaccine that is not approved by WHO. And that is all he was saying. That is within his right. It's a fact. It's the truth. But this government is so insecure. They're so insecure that anybody says anything, they lash out against them. Instead
Mhm.
of presenting facts, instead of, dealing with the matter in a professional way, they lash out at people. And it's the same thing you're seeing in the country here. That is what they do. When we question them, all they do is they lash out and they put out a whole host of fake information there about the opposition is anti-vax and our supporters are not taking the vaccine and a bunch of other things. But people are not confident in their administration. People are not confident the way how they have been behaving. People don't have that confidence in them. And instead of reassuring the public that, look, this is the situation, put the facts out there, be serious about it, they don't do that. They present a counter argument, a highly political counter argument, which only, in my mind, speaks is a targeted argument that speaks directly to their base, their support base. Because any right-thinking Guyanese, any person that stands in the middle, will not buy into those arguments.
I just want to touch on one last thing, and it's relating to your parliamentary duties again. Um, Over the weekend, we lost one of the age-old institutions that served Guyana well in producing a number of scholars in the Georgetown area, the North Rhineville Multilateral School. Um, Speculation is rife, and you're hearing things like arson, you're hearing things like um, accidental, incidental. Has the parliamentary opposition been briefed in any way, shape, or form regarding to the destruction of this thing? Because some people are saying, some people have gone so far to say that prior to the 2015 elections, there was some effort or some attempt on the part of the PPP administration then to destroy anything that was Bonham/Hoyt. And persons are now saying that it seems to them that this attitude or this series of actions have now resumed. Is there any way that is there anything that you can share with us about this
Well,
fire?
force off, my information is very limited on it, but I am not aware that the opposition has been briefed on any such. I'm not aware that the opposition has been breached. But it is a fact that the PUP administration is bent on destroying anything that has any connection to our well, my party, the PNC's founder leader. And as you know, as you would know, were the multilateral was his brainchild, you know, and persons coming to this country are surprised that those schools have withstand the test of time and they're still there, you know, with little maintenance, little repairs, they're still there. And you know, so it wouldn't be surprising if there is some spin on it, or there's some, you know, some connection with the PVP administration in terms of this disruption. I'm not saying that they are in any way responsible for it, but as information come out, we will get there. Nothing, the truth always comes out. Later down, you might be surprised to know what is their plan. You might see some other plan, like just like how the sheikh came here, and then months later we see what the plan was. You know, so I saw the Priya Manichan out there. Well, she's the education minister, so no problem with her there. But I saw them, all of them out there, and so I don't know. I would recall. Look, I'd equate this thing to another situation. Sash saw, this is a totally different thing. I saw persons at members of their administration at Sash Saw's funeral, and persons were crying crocodile tears. But there was never a proper commission of inquiry, you know, and this was a sitting minister. So I wouldn't be be surprised with these theatrics, these performances. I wouldn't be surprised. They would turn up there and pretend that, oh, this is all bad. And behind the scenes, it's another situation. But we are very disturbed as a party, myself being a central executive member of the PNCR. I am very, very disturbed about what has happened there. And I hope that the police, the fire service, and whatever agencies can get down to the truth, so that we can all understand what exactly happened here. And I would like to see that the government takes steps to rebuild the sections in the same way. Just repair whatever is damaged there, put it back together in the same way as it was. As I mentioned to you, persons are surprised that those buildings are still standing there and with that
Hmm.
unique design.
Yeah.
And you know that the PEP is trying to wipe out all memory of LFS Burnham and anything that this APNU, PNC, APNU, AFC administration has done. They're trying to clear it from the records. And so I wouldn't be surprised, whatever the cause or causes are for the fire. I don't think I'd be surprised if they have some role to play in it. Of course, they would deny it, but they have a history of that sort of thing. Remember, you would recall the Ministry of Health fire. You would
Yeah.
recall some other suspicious fires. We know what it is. You mightn't get the entire fact on it, but in the streets, persons know what is happening, and so I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, Mr. Holder, thanks for spending some time with us this morning. Just before I leave, I let you go. Um, persons in Region Two may very well want to have interaction with their MP. How do they get in contact with you? Do you have an office building? Is there a plan for an office building? I mean, share some information with us there.
There is a plan. My office will be located at our party office. We have a newly renovated building here, and steps are being taken to have me at that office there. I've written to the town council. I've received approval to put up a signboard because I've been flooded. I've been literally flooded with calls. As soon as something happens, persons call me, whether they support the PVP administration or they support our administration. Once people are suffering, they look for somebody to represent them.
Hmm.
I would tell you a call that I got. We didn't get to mention this. I know you would have been following the mix up with the two bodies at the charity
Yeah.
hospital. I got a call early morning. I was just out from Parliament very late, and I was still in bed. And I got a call from the first family, who were very, very much annoyed with the situation. Then got a call from the second family, who are also equally annoyed. These people spent one person said to me, the second family said they spent $180,000 on casket. They had a night of wake. They had persons coming from overseas. They built a tomb and all these things. And so, somebody has got to tell them something. The relative said to me that after so many days, not one person from the hospital, not the superintendent, not the RHO, nobody called them to explain the situation or to even say sorry.
Hmm.
And it's just disturbing. But I know our time is up, so I'll get back to the point that my office will be located in Anne Regina, just opposite the health center, or at the party office, at the PNC office, the PNC Regional Congress House. My office will be there very, very shortly. I will erect a signboard and get things going. But for now, my number is public. As I always tell people, my number is public, and whatever your issues are, you can make contact with me, whether it's day, night, whatever time. And persons do call me all hours in the morning. Sometimes people have issues. issues, police issues, all sorts of issues I get calls from. And the persons know that I'm very active and I do push to represent them. Whatever issues they have, I do. I'm a pushy person. I do push to represent them.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Holder, Honorable MP, representing the Pomeroon Supernam. Well, that's the right thing, right? Pomeroon
Supinam, yeah,
Supernam
Supinam. It's
region.
Dutch. It's Dutch.
Yes,
Supinam.
yeah. The region. I was just trying to make sure that the boundaries are right. I have been out of teaching for quite a bit, so I'm a little rusty with those regional boundaries. But thank you very
Okay.
much for coming on and sharing some of your time with us. And feel free to come at any time that you have any bit of information to share with the folk. Anything that we need to be updated on. I'm sure that we will be always willing and happy to accommodate your presence on the In Perspective show. Have a wonderful
Mhm.
day. God's richest blessings to you, sir.
Yes, you too. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, so that was our interview with Mr. Shurwayne Holder, Honorable MP, with responsibility for Region Number 2, representing the APNU AFC coalition. I just want to remind folk that when we discuss stuff here, we don't come and uh, necessarily speculate if there's something that is being said out there and we're repeating it, if we don't have concrete proof of it, we will say it's an allegation or there's a rumor out there or the speculation out there, but we ourselves will not want to speculate. And specifically to our follower, respectfully, Veronica Paul, we do not encourage our guests to come and scandalize people's names and besmirch their characters on the show just for the sake of besmirching. If they're doing something bad and we have proof, we can prove it, we can present the proof to you and to anybody who may inquire. Then certainly, and if that um, session or that discussion or that identifying the wrongdoing causes a smear on their character, well, then so be it. We are sorry for that. But we're not going to encourage people to come and speculate that, like you're saying, the REO may be doing things that are undercover and not in keeping with required standards and so on. They may be true, but we don't have the proof of it. I'm sure Mr. Holder doesn't have the proof of it, or he would have spoken about it. And not because he didn't speak about that specific issue or those specific issues, we are going to say that we have the right to identify him as somebody who is a waste of time. I believe that the Esquivel Coast is properly represented right now. He's very efficient. Every single week, I know MP Holder puts information out there on his Facebook page about the inconsistencies, the irregularities, and so on of the government. And therefore, we do not necessarily want to, as I always say, if we invite anybody on the show, it is my responsibility, the responsibility of the other two persons who are working in collaboration with me to make this show a success, to ensure that that person or those persons are not disrespected while on our show. We're not gonna allow for that to happen. So please show the man some love and some respect. That's why I asked him at the end, what is his contact information and where he is located. It might be a good thing for you who know stuff like that to go visit him or call him because he's not in the regional system. He is a member of parliament. He's dealing with national issues. Of course, representing some issues in parliament once he knows about them and so on, right? But let's listen. It is time for us to understand that we're not in this business to tear each other up. We're in the business of lifting each other. And the only way he can effectively lift Escribans or Escribal coastlanders is by us lifting him up so that he can have the courage and the confidence that is needed to go to the parliament and everywhere else to represent your issues. All right. I hope I didn't make you feel bad in any way, but I just thought that I should make that known to all and sundry. We don't encourage our guests to speculate lest we find ourselves in a libelous situation. All right. Um, that's all for today. Um, I'm not sure who we have on for Wednesdays yet, but I want to deal with some things on Wednesday. I have some real serious issues I want to deal with on Wednesday. So aside from whoever we're gonna have as our guest on Wednesday, I will have some information to share with you on Wednesday. Once again, for those persons who came on late and didn't get the greeting, if you didn't have, or if you didn't get our greeting yesterday, or you didn't have anybody to give you a greeting, and you're a father, and you're a proper father, you are a father, not a sperm donor, then we want to wish you belatedly a happy Father's Day and trust that everything that you do will always be done and said to please the Almighty, please God. All right, whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're Hindu, whatever you are, you believe in a superior being, and whether you call him God, Jah, Allah, whatever, you must have some kind of respect and regard for that being. But I would like to encourage you to check the Bible, man. Look on the Christian side of life, and then compare and see which one is more feasible to you, or which one seems to be more authentic, since we're talking about genuineness of products and so on. All right, uh, authenticity. Check the authenticity of your beliefs. Compare it against my beliefs, and if you believe that Christianity looks and feels and sounds, and there's more proof of its authenticity, then follow Christ, man. But in the meantime, have a wonderful day. God's richest blessings to you. See you again on Wednesday, God willing. Bye bye.
So we're not in the realm of supposition anymore. We know for a fact that people have voted. We know for a fact that people who are not in the jurisdiction would have voted. We know for a fact that there are 47 ballot boxes without documents. These are facts that are incontrovertible. It's not up for debate. We're not unsure about these things. And so I think the only reason that we ended up at the petition was that the court recognized that while everybody in fact recognized that whilst we have discovered these anomalies and irregularities, the mechanism through which we could address them is an elections petition. So it does not negate the fact of the findings. It does not negate the fact that the PPP has not been able to refute these allegations. And so even with this throwing out of the petition, temporarily, I would say, because I believe we have very, very strong prospects in terms of appeal, the PPP has not convinced anybody that they have not gotten there by illegitimate means. Because the very mechanism through which we were going to receive, as it were, the imprimatur of the court to say that these actions were illegal, it is the same mechanism through which the PPP could have acquitted themselves of these charges. And so these facts remain, and this is what I want to encourage our people. Don't be disheartened by this. The facts are the facts.